Well, hello there. My name is Anthony Ausgang, and I'm an artist, writer, and also a musician. And I'm the guitar player for a band called Cat Museum. Cat Museum is an LA-based psychedelic orchestra. Consists of up to 9 different musicians. We tend to play to a 20-minute long soundtrack, 20-minute long movie, and we make a live soundtrack somewhat improvisational to the movie every time. We played at clubs, we played at art galleries, we played indoors and outdoors. We played for audiences that loved us. We've had members of our own band stand up and tell us to stop in the middle of the show. It's a lot of fun. I don't feel the same kind of sense of responsibility to deliver the goods that I do as a painter. Of course, I still feel like I got to deliver the best performance I can, but I don't feel like the success or failure of the universe is riding on my actions like I do with my paintings. This is a lot more fun for me to do. Not maybe more fun, but it's a whole different way of expressing myself. I'd always wanted to be a musician. It takes a long time to be a good musician, so I decided I'd be a musician that played instruments like no one had ever seen before. The first custom instrument I made was a 2-bodied guitar. It had one neck and a body at each end of the neck, and it was played, it's a stereo guitar. It plays out of each body, so each guitar body has its own amplifier. I got the idea from that from, I believe it was the Grateful Dead, or possibly it was Neil Young, who had guitars where each pickup actually had a lead that went to its own amplifier. So, I began to realize that the more I got into music, that I could be as creative and weird and otherworldly with music as I was with my paintings. And that was a great relief in a way, because I didn't feel I had to learn the scales. I didn't have to learn musical theory. I didn't have to figure out what notation was or sight read. And being an experimental band is somewhat elating and liberating, so it's been a lot of fun. Other members of the band, we have Victor Balach, also known as Shaggy Vic, Bill Cates, voiceover artist, Jim Within, Matt Fielder, who makes the videos, and Imelda Beach, Izzy Alive is one of them. And I think that's just about everybody that we've got in the band. Nice orchestra size. What do you want to know?
I don't know. What's it like to be a rock and roll star?
The difference between like being a musician on stage and an artist with work on the walls is that I get this sense of immediate gratification or immediate rejection from the audience. At a gallery, somebody can look at a painting and decide they don't necessarily like it, and they can silently diss it and move on. In a club, if somebody doesn't like the band, they can let you know it. However, if they do like the band, then they're going to stick around. So there's this sort of like demonstrative affection or hatred for music that one doesn't really get in art. You do get that in art when people like Tony Schifrazi slash Picasso's Guernica, or the guy who smashed La Pieta in the Vatican in Rome. So, people do have violent reactions against art, but people tend to have more violent reactions, I think, to music than art. The days of a piece of visual art causing a riot are pretty much over, I'm afraid.
So is it hard working with other people? Normally, in visual arts, you're there in the studio alone. Yeah.
The hardest thing about it is that it's basically, the band is Cat Museum. It is really like herding cats. It's impossible. You get an 8 o'clock rehearsal schedule. We don't start till fucking 10:30 or 11. It takes people take the time to show up. I do appreciate, and I still value one of the things I value the most about visual art and being a painter is I'm just relying on myself, so I don't have to worry about anybody else. With a band, everybody has to show up, everybody has to be ready to go, and that doesn't really happen that much.
Are you the most responsible one there?
Yeah, I suppose I'm the most responsible in that I get to rehearsals. If they're scheduled at 8, I get there at 8 and end up sitting in my car for half an hour. But,
all right, so...
no, everybody in the band is actually, even though it's free-form and it's improvisational, it does require rehearsals. And I would like to say that one of the reasons that we are somewhat successful is because we do rehearse. Although it's like I said, free-form, improvisational, there's still a communication between the musicians that has to be a nice conduit. It has to be, it has to function. So that's the situation when dealing with artists other than myself, dealing with a group of musicians, there has to be communication between the musicians. That can't happen unless there's rehearsal. So we do take it seriously, although it might not appear that way to people.
What happens if you become rock superstars? I mean, are you gonna?
It's not gonna happen. It'll never happen. I mean, people's brains are not wired for what we're doing.
Huh? Gotcha.
I mean, people may like it in the audience. Maybe they'll buy a CD. They might get really fascinated by the visual quotient of what we're putting down. But I don't see anybody making out to it in a car and parked by a lake in Ohio. I don't think anybody's going to be born as a result of having listened to Cat Museum while having sex in the back seat. It's just not that kind of music, really. It's specific to a moment in time, which is unusual. That's one of the things about music that really made me, that sets it apart from art. A painting is on a wall. It has this temporal existence that this continues and continues and continues without end, since it's painted until the thing is destroyed. Music, it's here you go. You've got, you know, the 2-minute hit single and then it's gone. So music is this very transitional, transitory art form that I sort of appeals to me in that way. Unless somebody records a show, there's no record of it whatsoever.
So what does that mean for recording? I mean, what is the recording is sort of its own event, and it only speaks about that moment in time for the band, I would assume, right?
It's hard to say. I mean, what is a recording of music? Is it recording? Is the recording merely documentation of something that took place, or is the recording what the music was done for in the first place? That to me is like that's one of the conundrums about music. Is this an actual performance, or is this documentation of a performance? What's going on here? You know, it's the same like with movies. You can say a movie is a documentation of a movie being made.
So, is the artwork a documentation of the moment of the existence of that artist? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, a piece of art is proof that somebody was awake and active at a certain point in their life. You know, art, visual art, a painting on a wall is a shout for immortality. There's the paintings when I would go to the Hermitage in St. Petersburg in Russia and look at a painting from the 14th century. Well, all of a sudden I'm transported back to a point in time in the 14th century that I would never have even thought about if it wasn't for that. So in a way, to look at an old painting is very much like time. It is as close as one can get to time travel. And to look at a Bruegel painting and get an idea of the social realism, what was going on then. It's before photography. That's the only way there was a visual record of any period of time. Right?
Right on.
That's right.
Anything else on Cat Museum?
Well, Cat Museum is a loose affiliation of disenfranchised souls. You know, they kind of came together under the aegis of this concept, right? To provide a live improvisational soundtrack to a movie. It's unusual. People aren't used to it. We played a show with a band called the Warlocks. The Warlocks are straight up rock and drone, man. They're rock and roll, they're drone. They got it going on. The audience is in black leather. The chicks all have their hair's dyed black. After that, on the way out, they see us. They love it. They love it because it's completely different than what they're expecting, and it blows their minds. Whether they stick around for it or not, it's immaterial. I'd like it if they did, but if we only get them for fucking, 30 seconds, and they make a decision if they like it or not. And that something's being forced. We forced these people to make a decision. Nobody can really not have an opinion about the kind of music that we make.
Have you ever thought about introducing your visual work, associating with Cat Museum?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we just made a 20-minute long film. Matt Fielder, the guy, the member of Cat Museum who does all the videos, just put together a compilation of my different paintings and so forth. Yeah, it works really well. I enjoy it, but I also feel that this is a project that doesn't necessarily have... I'm not the main attraction. When I show my paintings, everything I do with my paintings and so forth, I'm the main attraction. My artwork's the main attraction. Consequently, there's a hell of a lot of responsibility to do things right, and just being a member of a collective called, or a band, whatever you want to call a group of musicians working together, it's sort of, it's a relief for me to not have it revolve around myself and my artistic output. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Anything you got to say?
I can't think of anything. I think we're good, man. Do you have any last thoughts?
So, Cat Museum, right? We've done a number of shows, and probably the weirdest show we did was at a place called the American Legion Post in Highland Park, and it was actually during this show that one of the members in the band playing on stage at the time with us stood up and began screaming for us to stop, slashing his finger across his throat, yelling for us to stop. Really, what kind of band am I in when one of its own members screams for it to stop, So this has been very interesting moments. But all the times when beautiful women come up to me and tell me how much they love the show, what could be better than that?
It sounds like fun.
It is fun.
Right on. All right, and that's a cut, I guess.
Here we go. Gonna go play to a crowd of layabouts, junkies, the unemployed, night crawlers.
Why doesn't he just get on the lunchbox like you?
He's actually, him and Pete both have cameras, and they're going to film us, and we're going to try to figure out a way to do it at a decent
stage. And here they are. Cat Museum. Yeah, they're, oh God. And of course, there they were. Shall ever be. Perhaps. Okay, the Cat Museum, everybody. Yes. All of you. See all you.
Tell Anthony if he wants to know. What's great about it?
But I need to
I love the stabbing, the fighting is so great. But see.
Filming cats.
Oh, right, the Facebook page.
Yeah. I know you're talking about cats.